book before bed. Tonight, we read Atomic Habits by James Clear, a quiet truth to rest on tonight, that you do not rise to the level of your dreams. You fall softly to the level of your habits, the small things you do, again and again, without even noticing. So let the day go now. Let your shoulders come down, away from your ears. Let the pillow take the full weight of your head. There is nothing left to fix tonight, nothing left to finish. Think, for a moment, of all the small things you did today. The way you reached for your phone before your eyes were even open. The route you drove without thinking. The cup of coffee, the same as yesterday. The words you said when someone asked how you were. So much of a life is made of these tiny, repeated things. The little grooves we wear into our days. Think of how you sit when you're tired. The first thing you say when the phone rings. Which way you turn when you walk through your own front door. You never decided these things. Not really. They simply settled into you. One quiet day at a time, until they became the furniture of your life. We tend to think the big moments are what shape us. The decision, the leap, the dramatic before, and the dramatic after. But most of who you are was built quietly. One small action laid gently on top of another, 10,000 times, until it became the shape of your days. And tonight, we are going to make peace with that. We are going to stop chasing the big leap and learn to love the small step. Because the small step is the only one you ever actually take. Let me tell you how this book began. James Clear was a young man, still in school, when something happened that he never chose. A bat slipped from someone's hands during a game and struck him full in the face. It was severe, far more severe than anyone first understood. There were fractures and swelling and seizures. For a while, he was kept in a deep medical sleep, while his body simply tried to survive. And when he came back, he had to begin again, from almost nothing. He had to learn once more how to walk in a straight line, how to do the simplest things, the things the rest of us never think about. And here is the gentle heart of it. He could not leap. He could not force his old life to come rushing back. All he had were small things. One more step than yesterday. One more honest, ordinary effort. There was no single morning where everything turned around. No dramatic scene. Just a long, patient string of unremarkable days. A better night's sleep. A small, kept routine. A tidy room. The kind of things that feel almost too ordinary to count. And yet, quietly, they were rebuilding a whole life from the ground up. So that is what he did. Quietly, for years. Long after the headlines would have faded, he kept laying down tiny, almost invisible improvements, one upon another. And slowly, so slowly that you could not see it day to day, a life rebuilt itself, and then a life that was stronger than before. That is the seed of this book, the discovery that the smallest actions, repeated with patience, are not small at all, that an atom is a tiny thing, and yet everything is made of them. So here is the question the book quietly asks, the one we'll sit with tonight, not, how do I change my life all at once? But, how do I become, a little at a time, the kind of person whose life simply turns out well? We are so used to thinking in goals. I want to lose the weight. I want to write the book. I want to be calm and kind and rested. And there is nothing wrong with wanting. But a goal is only a direction. It is the star you steer by, not the boat you sail in. The first idea to hold tonight is the gentlest kind of math. The math of 1%. Imagine you got just 1% better at something today. Not dramatically better, barely better. So slightly better that no one, including you, would notice. By itself, 1% is nothing. It disappears. It feels like failure almost, like you didn't really do anything at all. But now imagine you did it again tomorrow, and the day after, and quietly, without applause, for a whole year. Those tiny 1% do not add up. They multiply. Each small improvement stands on the shoulders of the one before it. And by the end of a year, you are not 1% better. You are many, many times the person you were. Think of reading just 10 pages a night. 10 pages on any single evening. It feels like almost nothing. You could not point to what it changed. But 10 pages a night is a small shelf of books by the end of a year. A quiet education built entirely out of evenings that felt too small to matter. And the same is true of a single kind word, a single short walk, a single early night, none of them important, all of them together, slowly becoming a life. And it works the other way too. 1% worse, each day, barely noticeable. And a year later, you have quietly slipped far from where you wanted to be. This is why the small things matter so much. Not because any single one is powerful, but because you will do them so many times. So tonight, you can let go of the pressure of the giant change. You don't need it. You only need a direction and a willingness to be just slightly better than yesterday. Again and again and again. Now, the second idea. And this one quietly changes everything. We are taught to set goals, but the people who succeed and the people who fail very often have the very same goals. Everyone who runs a race wants to win it. Everyone who starts a diet wants to be well. So if the goal is the same, the goal cannot be what makes the difference. What makes the difference is the system, the quiet set of habits you return to every single day, the small things you do when no one is watching, and when you have stopped feeling inspired. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall softly to the level of your systems, to the level of your ordinary days. Think of two people who want the same calm, healthy life. One of them keeps the goal pinned to the wall and waits for the burst of motivation to arrive. The other simply lays out their walking shoes each night and fills the bottle with water and goes to bed a little earlier than before. A year from now, they may have wanted exactly the same thing, but only one of them will have quietly become it, not because they wanted it more, but because they built a small, forgiving rhythm that carried them there, even on the days they didn't feel like it. So tonight, we put the goal down for a while. We stop straining toward the finish line, and instead, we ask something kinder. What is one small system, one gentle daily rhythm that a person like the one I want to be would simply, naturally have? Not a heroic effort, a quiet routine, something so small it almost feels like nothing. And that brings us to the deepest idea in the whole book, the one I'd like you to carry into sleep. Every habit you keep is quietly casting a vote for the kind of person you believe you are. When you make your bed, You cast a small vote. I am someone who takes gentle care of my space. When you drink the water, you cast a vote. I am someone who looks after this body. When you read one page, one single page, you cast a vote. I am a reader. No single vote decides anything, just as no single small action changes your life. But the votes gather. They build up quietly in the dark until one day you look at the evidence of your own days and you realize the person you wanted to become is simply who you now are. This is why lasting change is so rarely about willpower. It is not about forcing yourself, gritting your teeth, fighting your own nature every morning. It is about identity, about slowly, gently, letting your small actions tell you a truer story about who you are. And the loveliest part is that you can begin from wherever you are. You do not need to believe the story yet. You only need to cast one small vote in its direction. One page read, one glass of water, one slow breath instead of the worried thought. The belief comes after, not before. First, the small action, and then, slowly, the quiet conviction. Well, perhaps I am that kind of person after all. You do not have to become that person tonight. You only have to cast one small vote, and then, tomorrow, cast another. Now let's look softly at how a habit actually works. Because once you see it, you can begin to work with it instead of against it. Every habit, the book says, moves through 4 quiet steps. First, there is a cue, a small signal. The phone lights up. The clock reaches a certain hour. You walk into the kitchen. Something says gently, now, then, a craving. Not a craving for the thing itself, but for the way you imagine it will make you feel. Not the cigarette, but the calm. Not the screen, but the escape. Not the snack, but the comfort. Then, the response, the thing you actually do, the reaching, the opening, the doing. And finally, the reward. The small feeling you were really after all along, the little hit of relief or pleasure or rest. Think of the phone resting on the table. It lights up. That is the cue. And something stirs in you. A small restlessness. A wish to feel something other than this quiet moment. That is the craving. Your hand reaches out, almost before you decide to. That is the response. And for a few seconds, there is the little flicker of relief, of elsewhere. That is the reward. You never chose that loop. You practiced it 1,000 times, without ever meaning to. And that is all a habit really is. A path you have walked so often that your feet now find it in the dark. Cue, craving, response, reward. Around and around it goes, and every time the loop completes, it carves itself a little deeper until one day it runs entirely on its own, and you call it a habit. There is no need to fear this. It is simply how you are made. And the same quiet loop that built the habits you'd like to change can be used just as gently to build the ones you long for. So now, let me offer you a few soft practices. Not rules. Not a program to begin tomorrow with clenched fists. Just gentle ways to lean the loop in your favor. You can simply listen to them and let them settle and try one someday when you're ready. The first is to make the good habit obvious. Simply let it be seen. So much of what we do because it was in front of us. So we set the cue with our own hands, the book on the pillow. So reading is the last thing you touch. The glass of water by the bed, the walking shoes left by the door, where you cannot miss them. You are not relying on memory or motivation. You are simply arranging your little world. So the kind thing is the easy thing to see. The second is to make it attractive, to let yourself look forward to it. Tie the new habit to something you already enjoy. Let the music you love play only while you tidy. Let the warm tea come with the quiet reading. We are gentle creatures. We move toward what feels good, so let the good habit feel good, right from the start. The third is to make it easy. So easy, it feels almost silly. This is the gentlest idea of all. When a habit feels too big, shrink it. Shrink it until it takes no more than 2 minutes. Don't write the book, just open the page. Don't run the miles, just lace the shoes and step outside. Don't meditate for an hour, just take one. Slow breath. Because the hardest part is never the doing, it is the starting. And a habit you can start is a habit you can keep. Once you have begun, you can always do more, but you never have to. There is a strange grace in this. On your strong days, the 2 minutes become an hour, all on their own. And on your tired days, the days you have nothing left, the 2 minutes are still there, waiting, small enough to manage. So the thread is never quite broken. So you never have to begin again from nothing. The fourth is the quiet art of joining, what the book calls stacking. You already have 100 small habits woven through your day. The morning coffee, brushing your teeth, turning off the light. So you take the new little habit and you simply rest it on top of an old one. After I pour my coffee, I will sit and breathe for 1 minute. After I turn off the light, I will think of one thing I was grateful for today. The old habit becomes the gentle reminder for the new one, and the new one slips into your life without a fight. The fifth is to shape the room around you, your environment. We like to believe we are creatures of pure will, but so often we are creatures of our surroundings. We eat what is on the counter. We do what is within reach. So make the good thing easy to reach and the harder thing just a little further away. You don't have to win a battle every evening. You can simply arrange the room so that there is no battle to fight. And the sixth is perhaps the kindest of all. Let it be satisfying. A habit that feels good in the moment is a habit that returns. So notice the small completion. Let yourself feel the quiet pleasure of the thing done. A small mark on a page. A soft, private, well done. You are not too old or too serious for that small warmth. We all keep doing what feels good to have done. Make it obvious. Make it attractive. Make it easy. Make it satisfying. And to soften a habit you'd rather release, you simply turn each one around. Make it invisible. Make it unappealing. Make it difficult. Make it quietly unrewarding. That is all. 6 gentle leanings. No willpower required. Only a little kindness in how you arrange your days. But here, a soft worry often rises, and it deserves an answer before you sleep. If the steps are this small, does it even matter? 1 page, 1 breath, 1 minute. It can feel like nothing. It can feel like you are barely trying at all. So let me tell you about the most important, most hidden part of all of this. The book calls it the valley, the long, quiet stretch where nothing seems to happen. When you begin something good, you expect to see the reward arrive in a neat, straight line. A little effort, a little result, more effort, more result. But that is not how it works. Not for anything that matters. For a long time, you pour your small efforts in, and you see nothing. The ice in the cold room stays frozen. As the temperature climbs, degree by patient degree, nothing, nothing, still nothing. And then, at last, it melts. All at once, it seems. But it was never sudden. Every unseen degree was doing its quiet work, in the dark, where you could not watch it. This is the hardest and most beautiful truth of habits. Your most important work is often invisible. The progress is real, long before you can see it, like roots spreading underground, while the surface looks bare. This is the moment most people quietly give up. Not because they failed, but because they could not yet see the proof. They poured in all those small good efforts, looked around, saw nothing, and decided it wasn't working, but it was working. It was always working. The reward was simply gathering, out of sight, waiting for the day there was enough of it to show. And the only thing standing between them and that day was a little more patience, a few more quiet, ordinary nights. So if you are in that valley tonight, doing the small good things and seeing nothing yet, please be gentle with yourself. You are not failing. You are simply still underground, still gathering, closer than you feel. And there is one last, tender idea. Before we let the day go completely, how do we keep going through that long, quiet valley? Not by forcing ourselves, but by finding the sweet spot. The book calls it the place where the task is just hard enough. Not so easy that you grow bored, not so hard that you grow afraid, but right on the soft edge of what you can do, where you are stretched, just a little, and held, just enough. That is where the doing stays alive, where a habit stops being a chore and quietly becomes a part of you, something you do, not because you must, but because it is simply who you are now. And so we arrive where this book has been leading us all along, away from the frantic chase, away from the all or nothing, the leap, the transformation, the someday, and towards something far quieter and far kinder. The understanding that you build the person you'll become in the smallest moments, the ones happening right now, not in the grand resolution, but in the next breath, the next small, almost invisible choice, the next tiny vote for who you are becoming. You do not have to fix your whole life. You never did. You only have to be 1% gentler with yourself tonight than you were last night. One small good thing laid quietly on top of the last. So let's lay down one now, together, a small practice to end the day. Let your body grow heavy. Feel the weight of you sinking into the bed, the back of your head, your shoulders, your hands. Finally still, and bring your attention gently to your breath. You don't have to change it. Just notice it, the slow rise as the air comes in, and the long, soft fall as it leaves. Breathe in 1% of calm, and breathe out 1% of the day. In, a little more rest. Out, a little more letting go. This breath is a tiny habit too, a small vote for a person who knows how to be at peace. And you are casting it right now, effortlessly, beautifully. Let your attention travel down through your body now, slowly, the way warmth spreads. Let it soften your forehead, and the space between your eyebrows. Let your jaw come loose. Your tongue rest soft in your mouth. Let it move down through your chest, rising and falling on its own, through your arms, all the way to your fingertips. Let your stomach soften, your legs grow heavy, all the way down to the very soles of your feet. There is nothing held anymore, nothing braced, just a body being breathed in a quiet, dark room. There is nothing to achieve here, no goal to reach, no finish line in the dark, only this, only the small, good, quiet thing of resting. Let the thoughts of tomorrow drift by, like clouds you don't have to follow. Let the things left undone stay undone until morning. They will keep, they always do. Feel how the room holds you, the soft dark, the quiet, perhaps a far-off sound, a car, a wind, a distant nothing, reminding you how safe and how still you are right here. There is no past in this moment, no future, only your breath, rising and falling, 1% at a time, carrying you down into sleep. Good night. Thank you for being here with me tonight. May you rest in the quiet of this moment and find your way back to the peace inside you. I'll see you with the next book